And this was after the verses of hijab had been revealed. When were the verses of hijab revealed? Maybe we can find out when did Muraisi' take place. Sadly, it doesn't matter to us because the verses of hijab were revealed at the end of the 4th year of the Hijrah. So either 5th or 6th doesn't matter. That doesn't help us. Okay? The verses of hijab were revealed Dhul Qa'dah of the 4th year of the Hijrah. Right? And I mentioned when I teach the class about the fiqh of clothing and the fiqh of food, I mentioned that the verses of hijab were of the last commandments to be revealed after salah, after zakah, after inheritance, after fasting Ramadan, after zakatul fitr, right? After marriage and divorce, which is in Baqarah. The verses of hijab were of the very last commandments to be revealed in terms of the personal dietary laws and whatnot, right? No doubt hijab is important, but I point out that I think many of us have made hijab even more important than the salah. It's like we immediately decide instantaneously based on the hijab. No doubt hijab is important, but put it in its place. It was revealed at the end of the 4th year, not at the beginning of the 1st year like the salah or something. Okay? Actually the salah was pre-hijrah, excuse me. The zakah was the beginning of the 1st year and all that. And nonetheless, so she said, so the verses of hijab had been revealed, and therefore I would travel in a hawdaj. A hawdaj. What is a hawdaj? It's a mini tent, if you like. We all are familiar with it. And it's basically something you put on the camel, and it is an envelope. It's like a small tent that a person can sit inside. Canopy. Something you put on the camel. It's a canopy that a person can sit in. And to this day, some cultures, they use it. A person is carried in it or something. We see it on television in the old days. People would carry a nobleman. 4 people would carry. This is the hawdaj. And then you put it on the camel. Now, the hijab of the Prophet ﷺ's wives was extra. The hijab of the Prophet ﷺ's wives was extra. And the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, they had to be covered not just in their personal body, but their space as well had to be covered. And this was only for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and this is explicit in the Quran. Explicit in the Quran. The Quran says, وَإِذَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُنَّ مَتَاعًا فَاسْأَلُوهُنَّ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ. If you ask the wives of the Prophet ﷺ for anything, if you talk to them, speak to them from behind a hijab. And this is what Aisha is saying, that this incident of Muraisi' took place after the verses of hijab. The term hijab in the Quran, I'm going into a tangent here, but it's something we should know, it's very important. The term hijab in the Quran does not mean headscarf. In our vernacular, it means a headscarf. We say, does she wear hijab? I started wearing the hijab, means the headscarf. This is modern Arabic, which is fine, not a problem. Quranic Arabic, the hijab meant a physical curtain that separates the entire body, not just on your body. It's a curtain between you and the speaker. This is the Quranic usage of hijab. And this usage of hijab, according to the Quran, only the wives of the Prophet ﷺ have to enforce that type of hijab. As for the headscarf, the Quran references this with the term Khimar. With the term Khimar. وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. Let them wear their khimar, khumur, plural of khimar, over their juyub, which is their bosoms. Their scarves should cover their chests as well. Because the women of Jahiliyyah, by the way, they would wear headscarves, by the way. The women of Jahiliyyah would wear a headscarf. Every respectable, dignified lady would cover her hair, just like in America 100 years ago. Impossible for a dignified lady. Only the peasants and the rural people without money, without education, they would be without. And the same in Arabia. Every single lady of respect and of middle class would wear a headscarf. But, just like in America as well, the headscarf would be thrown back and the dresses get lower and lower. You get the point. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no. When you wear the headscarf, cover the bosom. وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. Right? So anyway, the point here, Aisha says the verses of hijab had been revealed. And by this we mean an extra layer above and beyond the khimar, above and beyond the jilbab, which is another Quranic term. Right? يا أيها النبي يا قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن. That's another verse. So the khimar and jilbab is mentioned for all women. The mothers of the believers, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ, and all of the women. Khimar and jilbab. And this is what our sisters wear. For the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, there's only the hijab. Now, a reason I say this, by the way, and it's very important, I know it's not directly related. These days you will hear some modernists or progressives say, the hijab was only for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is a technically true statement that is intended for something false. This is a technically true statement. كَلِمَةُ حَقٍّ أُرِيدَ بِهَا بَاطِلٍ. It's a true statement, but something evil is intended through it. It is true, the Quranic hijab is only for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. But what is the Quranic hijab? It is this extra layer of curtain. Right? Whereas what these people try to say is that the hijab, meaning how we understand it, which is the khimar and jilbab, is only for the wives of the Prophet. And this is wallahi foolishness that shows a complete ignorance of the Quran. It's so explicit. يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين. Tell your wives and your daughters and the believing women, يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن. They should all cover themselves with a jilbab. This is in the Quran. The word jilbab and the word khimar as well. That, O believing women, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى all believing women, including the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. And Aisha would wear a khimar, and she would wear a jilbab, but she would also have a hijab. Right? So in any case, getting back to the story now, so she's saying this was after the verses of hijab, so she's explaining, why am I in a hodaj? Why am I in a canopy? Because she, unlike any other woman, she cannot ride a camel anymore. The figure of Aisha could not be seen in public. The figure, even completely covered. She has to be always in that canopy. And in her house as well, nobody can speak to her except from behind the curtain. Right? And that is why the only person, the main narrator from Aisha was her nephew, Urwa, because he's a mahram. So Urwa did not have to speak from behind the hijab. Urwa could enter from, and speak to her from behind the hijab. Whereas all of the other people spoke from on the other side of the hijab. So